Well, confidence is a key word these days. How confident do people feel about investing when it comes to an uncertain road ahead tied to COVID-19? We've seen that play out in sectors like cannabis this year, which made it interesting this week when Constellation upped its investment in Canopy Growth. A sign of confidence in yesterday's trading session, helping out some of the cannabis companies. Let's check in with Bruce Linton, who, of course, was the former chairman and co-CEO of Canopy Growth. He's also the co-chair of Martello in the technology sector, which has been confident about making some investments these days. And Bruce joining us right now. Thanks for being with us. And I want to talk a little bit about Martello, but first, just on what's going on in the cannabis sector, Bruce, just give us a sense. I mean, I mentioned that news yesterday as maybe a confidence builder in the sector. How confident have you sensed people to be these days?
I would say it's the sort of question you want to ask them 8 times a day because it changes so frequently, right? You know, people see today green on the market, they're all excited and up, but I thought this was a Constellation. When we did the deal about 2+ years ago, they put in $245 million at $12.97, and we issued them a warrant with sort of a shortish expiry, and that was coming up. So that warrant obviously had about a $10 of embedded value. You'd probably get fired if you didn't exercise it, but they didn't exercise it and flip it. They hold it, which is a huge confidence boost in my view. And when you look at the cash position of the company, it's so robust. People should have confidence to say that these folks, at least in, for sure, Canopy, probably Kronos, and to some extent, Aphria, have a balance sheet that allows them to go where they want. And everybody's talking COVID now. I think by the time we get to Q4, there's going to start to be conversations again post-election in the U.S. about what happens with regulation of cannabis. And if you've got a big balance sheet, you're ready to go.
How would you describe how the business has performed during COVID-19? We keep giving our audience sort of a snapshot of how each sector is dealing with all this.
Well, I think retail across North America for cannabis has been either deemed an essential service, briefly was taken off, got brought back on. In Canada and the U.S., you'll find that the opportunity to do new and better things has been seized by the sector, by at least the aggressive players. So things like same-day delivery, curbside pickup, introduction of really accelerated transactions. And so any stores that are open are doing extraordinarily well. They have things that I think will probably not disappear because, as you and I would know, I think income tax was a temporary measure implemented, I believe, during World War I, and it's still here. And so if we still have that, I bet we're going to still have curbside pickup. We're going to still have same-day delivery. And those things will be very difficult for the illicit market to continue to have a differentiation. And that means more people will go the legal route and get the sure product.
Bruce, we're going to get a jobs report in this country for the month of April in just a couple of days. Obviously, you got to be there for the ride up for Canopy, but it's a company like a lot of others out there that has been eliminating some jobs. What's been that like for you to watch that after the time you spent trying to build this business?
Yeah, it's tough, right? There's 2 parts to it. When the world stops, if you had any business that involves, say, shipping something to Germany, that's not going so well right now. So I suspect what you'll find is that it put a lot of pressure, even if you have great domestic activity, if your international opportunities are reset to maybe 0, and I don't know for sure, that hurts. I'm more capable at maybe building it than I would have been able to can so many people. And I say that in that I don't know if which companies will qualify for the 75% wage coverage. But my inclination would have been to try and probably think about how do we have everybody have a little less, keep them a little longer, and do layoffs in June when you're sort of out of this a bit further. But it is what it is. And I've had a lot of people reach out to say that despite being laid off, the 2, 4, 3, 6, whatever number of years they were there, were the best they've ever had. And the message I always gave people when I was there was, really cherish what you have, because this will regrettably be the most interesting, exciting career you have in your life. And if you're now, say, 32, 36, it's going to be hard to figure out what to do for the next 30 years while you're working. So really cherish this. And I think people took that to heart and did. And so it's been nice to see the online outreach. I feel bad for anybody who's been laid off by Zoom, because apparently that's terrible.
Like at Canopy, they get laid off by Zoom?
Well, I've talked to people in a lot of sectors, right? You can't go to the office. How does one lay somebody off if you can't interact with them? You have to do it through mechanisms that are available, the thing we're doing, right? You're sitting at your house, I'm sitting at my house. If I was about to lay you off, John, I think I'd have to do it right now on this, and I'd bring it up casually and then say, good news, you have more free time tomorrow. But that's the reality of COVID, is that things like these can't be done in a normal course way. And it's very hard on people. And by the way, I have no power to lay
on the Good. Glad to hear it. But as we talk about some of the technology here, and you put on your hat there, it's worth reminding our audience that before you were in the cannabis business, I mean, technology is something that you have been a builder and investor in for a long time, and Martello, you're co-chair of, which has been active during COVID-19. Just give us a sense on what you guys have been up to. Yeah,
so even before COVID-19, we were looking at this company that was really doing a good job at helping make the experience of using Office 365 and Teams better. And so that started probably August, and we got to structuring a deal. COVID slowed it down a little bit, but what happened is in the background, it made it ever more clear that these trends are going to go forward. That if you look at the things like Teams, I think they've almost doubled the number of monthly users. It's a Microsoft application like Zoom. 365 is through the roof in terms of users. So what we did is we took our existing base, which is about 4,000 end users, looked at who do we have and what application would take us further in. And if you can work with Microsoft, if you can make those applications work better. And when I say that, first you have to find out why did they not work, which is really Martello's expertise, is to understand when things are degrading, where and why, so that the IT department can actually intervene and make it a more supported, functional, smooth application. And so we could have said on this deal, you know what, stocks are down, world's terrible, let's stop. But then what the heck are you going to do? So instead we said, well, we might as well focus and get it done. And so about a week ago today, we announced the acquisition. There's some final closing things, but I don't know. I think it's a good time to do transactions. And it is that simply because people are available and some folks are ready to sort of hand over the reins.
Well, there's always that side of it too. Thanks a lot, Bruce. Like the goatee. Appreciate your time as always.
Well, and it's one of those things. I did another segment about collective growth this morning, and they put up the picture from when I was at Canopy, and I thought, yeah, COVID definitely has changed how people look, and I probably got to get on and getting back to that other look.
I think it looks good. Bruce Linton joining us, co-chair of Martello Technologies, former chairman and co-CEO of Canopy Growth, joining us.